right. So
All right, we are talking about chapter, what are we on, 15 today, right?
yeah, we're in 15 asking the right questions.
Asking the right questions.
Yep.
And again, another short chapter, but dense that we can really unpack and get a lot of information out of. I always, and with the help of AI, I kind of like to get a um, kind of like a subtitle for each chapter.
Right.
And the subtitle that I got for today is "The Best Salespeople Talk Less and Understand More."
That comes back to even the meeting that we had, and it says you have the best part of doing or like learning about like selling or is listening. You have to listen
Oh,
to
my, you talking about my
everything.
buyer consult?
Yes, your
Yes.
buyer
Yep, my
consult,
buyer
you have
consult
to
class.
listen. That's what I came out with. That
Yeah.
was the main point is you have to listen. You have to listen and you have to observe whatever's happening.
Yeah. I
So,
have an agent right now out in New Jersey that I am doing some coaching with, and we she's telling me she's having a hard time kind of connecting. Her message just isn't landing with people, and so I've been kind of digging into that. And she said, "Oh, I've got this script that my broker gave me to use," and immediately I was like, "Oh God," because I'm not a fan of scripts. I like talking
no,
once
well
and then put
you
whatever.
never stay on them.
Yeah. Also, like, don't be scripted. Be real. I
Yeah.
guess is maybe it. But anyways, I asked her to look at it, and I said, "Okay, well, tell me what you like about this and what you don't like." And it was, she gave me some thoughts. But where I'm moving to with this is the script was all about just like the transaction. How many houses have you looked at? How many offers have you put in, et cetera, et cetera. And I challenged her. I said, "What I see here is that we're not asking anything about the client.
About,
We're
yeah,
not asking anything about motivations, about problems, pain points, pleasure
right.
points." And I taught her the Holy Grail question that I stole from Micah, and that's what's going on in your life, right? What's going on in your life that has you thinking about a move or a change? And I told her just ask
Quick
that question and
question.
then
Who is
shut up.
Micah?
Micah Johnson. Micah Johnson is a great instructor in the area. She's also the broker owner of Elevate Real Estate down on Stanschluter. Wonderful, wonderful woman. Very, very powerful teacher. I have learned a lot from her, and I've stolen a lot from her. And I say that with pride. There's no shame in it, and I hope that she will be flattered and humbled if she ever hears that I've stolen a lot of her stuff and use it.
I hear her name like a lot. Micah says, and I look at everybody and I kind of smile because I don't know who they're talking
She's
about.
kind of built a tagline, Micah says, and in fact, she has like she's had a podcast segment and social media stuff, and it all is just Micah says. So that's kind of turned into a branding or a tagline for her is Micah says. So, and like any good marketing, it's something that people have repeated, and
Yeah.
people themselves will go say, "Oh, well, Micah says, Micah
Micah
says."
says, and I
Yeah.
hear it all the time.
Mhm.
Kayla, you, I think Wendy even said it. Everybody,
Mike
Micah
is a very
says,
powerful instructor. One time somebody compared me as an instructor to her, and I was
mhm.
like, that I don't know. Like I was like blasphemy, no, I'm not as
Yeah,
good as Micah. Now, but even just to be considered in the conversation with her is
yeah,
very humbling for me. Is I aspire to be as good an instructor as Micah is. But yeah, I stole that Holy Grail question from Micah. What's going on in your life that has you thinking about a move or a change? And I gave this to this agent that I'm coaching, and I said, ask that question, no matter who you're working with, buyers or sellers, it doesn't matter. Ask the question, and then the very next thing that you need to do is shut up.
yeah,
Just be quiet
yeah,
and listen and learn. And
yeah.
that's a huge part of this. Most people think, most salespeople, most people in sales. Now, I would argue that I'm not in sales. I tell people all the time, I've never sold a house in my life. I have solved problems, I've helped people, the house sells itself. But I digress. But most salespeople, true salespeople that actually are those pushy salespeople, they believe that their job is presenting or pitching or persuading. And Kindle flips it on its head and he says, no, a ninja doesn't do that. Uh, Customer should be doing most of the talking.
Yeah.
When they, I asked somebody one time, how do you control the conversation? And they say, well, I just talk louder. And okay, well, I disagree with that. I think that the best way to control a conversation is to ask questions. If you ask questions, you're going to control the conversation. You can steer.
Carmen has a saying. Carmen, this little girl can sell. Okay, and the thing is, she says she doesn't know how to sell anything. All she says is, she goes, "Tell me more.
Yep. Tell me more. Yep.
Tell me more. Tell me more. Tell me more. Hey, do you think that you would have a good time with this? Yes. Let me have six of those.
Hmm.
Great." And she walks away.
Yep. It's because
Tell
you're
me
learning
more.
about people and their needs.
Mm-hmm.
So
Tell me
asking
more.
questions is how you're going to control that conversation. Kindle
Yeah.
uses and I don't know if you may or may not be a football person at all, but Kindle uses time of possession to talk about the idea of who's doing most of the talking.
Yeah.
And bottom line is you want your customer, client, whoever is sitting in front of you, you want them to have the ball. They
Yeah.
need to have possession.
Yeah. Because that's the only way. They're the ones buying the house.
Yeah. Well, you need to understand them. You need to
And
know
you
what
need to
you
know
need.
where they're coming from. Yeah.
Exactly. Uh, most salespeople, they dominate the conversation. I think Kendall mentioned that a lot of times they talk for 90% of the
Of
time.
the time. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's terrible. The customer should be the one talking about 75% of the time. The idea is this when you're talking less, people feel more connected to the conversation. They feel heard, they feel seen, they feel understood. And most more important than any of that is they probably feel important. They
Yeah.
feel like what they have to say is important to you, that you care about it. You also learn what actually matters to them. If you don't know, if you can't get them to say it, you're left guessing the whole time. And this is critical. You need to learn what they actually care about. Find their pain points, their pleasure points, whatever their fears are, their motivations. What's their decision making style? Wendy and I are working with some buyers right now that they are very slow. They are really high, both of them are really high C types, which is terrible because they need all the information. They never make a decision. They get into analysis paralysis, but we know how to have a conversation with them and where to meet them.
Yeah.
Whereas if we did not allow them to do a lot of the talking, we never would have uncovered this.
I mean, but that's what I've heard from you, and that's what you teach majority of the time is
Yep.
you have to listen to what it is that they want. You can ask questions that will lead you to what you need, the information you need.
Hmm.
So it's like your questions are mostly leading
It
questions.
is.
Well, tell me about this. And then they talk and talk and talk because people like to talk.
They do. They absolutely do. And more than just asking, you need to pair that with an open-ended question. So you ask questions to guide the conversation, but you also make sure that you're asking questions that aren't closed-ended, where they can say either yes or no. Oh, do you
Right.
like this? Wrong. Why do you like this? Oh, I don't like it. Oh, why do you dislike it? Or how do we feel about this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anytime you say how do you feel, you're connecting with their emotions, and that's powerful.
Yeah. It is. It is.
One of
It
the
is.
things that Kendall talked about is that the client or the customer, he calls them customers, and
Mhm.
rightly so, they are customers.
Right.
They will close with you, and by that, what he's saying is that they're going to sell themselves. This is, I think, one of the deepest ideas in this tiny little chapter, this little 2-page chapter here, is that when people are verbalizing their own problems, their desires, or frustrations, a lot of times they're kind of like muddying through it and they don't understand it themselves. But if you just allow them to continue to talk and work this out, they gain that clarity. And a lot of times they end up convincing themselves, oh, this is it. This is what I need. And thank you for understanding. And you're the one to do it. Boom, done. Like, and all
Right.
you've done is just be a great listener, active listener, ask the right follow-on questions, and then you're good. The There, another real big nugget that came out of this was the 2 minute warning. Do you remember what that was about?
Um, Research shows that unless the salesperson is very compelling speaker, most customers will disconnect
Yeah,
within two
within two
minutes.
minutes. Unless you are a TED Talk style presenter,
Yeah,
you're gonna
yeah,
lose people.
yeah.
And this is
Not, I
really
mean,
gold.
it's not lying.
Yeah, and this is something you should be
You'll
mindful
listen,
of.
you'll listen, and then you'll go, I'm bored now.
Hmm.
Unless that person has brought, it's not so much informative, but it's a back and forth, or it's tell me about this, tell me why you're doing this, what do you like about this area,
Hmm.
where are you looking to live, where do you live right now,
Hmm.
it's a whole bunch of questions, but it's all around what they
Yeah. And
it's
Kendall
about
talks
them.
about that ways to kind of break it up if you need to, because sometimes you do need to go into, almost like an educator mode.
Hmm.
So much of what I do is education centric, and the only way to actually get the information, the best way I guess I'll say that I have found is with my mouth. I can
Yeah.
give them videos, I can give them things to read, but if I'm in front of them, I get the
No,
opportunity to actually,
I
introduce
mean,
it, plant
honestly,
it better.
how many times do you, when someone sends you a video,
Yeah,
be honest,
people don't watch it, right? So,
ain't nobody watching
but you
that.
need to break that up. So whenever you're in that place where you're doing a lot of the talking for a while, you need to stop and say, "Are you with me?" Or
Yeah.
what questions do you have so far? It re-engages them back mentally because they're going to start to drift. They're going to start to
Right.
just kind of like head off as you continue to talk nonstop. You don't want to, uh, again, going back to what Micah calls it, word vomit. It's rude to vomit on people. Don't do that. So it's
So
also
Micah
rambling.
says, don't word vomit. I'm
Don't
gonna
vomit on
start saying
people.
Micah says.
Yeah, I mean,
I've never
don't
even met, or I know nothing about
check out
Micah.
some of her classes. She's great. And but yeah, don't vomit on people. That's rude.
That's rude.
When you when you do that, it's just rambling, right?
Yeah,
Attention drops, that connection weakens. And honestly, that's when we start to see resistance begin to rise because now you're the pursuing salesperson.
right.
And and then when you pursue, people run. And they're going to think this person is just the self-centered, all about themselves. And more importantly than that, probably when you're talking, you're not learning. You're not learning anything about them. And that's what we're here to do.
Yeah,
And one of the things that I love that Kendall talked about in this chapter, he said, we don't present, we have consultations.
right.
And there's a reason why I specifically use that language, a consult. No, I don't present. This isn't a seller's presentation. This isn't a buyer's presentation. We're having a consultation. And a lot of that is a conversation as well. And I'm listening.
There is an instructor, which I shall, because this is recording, shall remain nameless. Okay. That I was having a lot of difficulty with it because of the language that he used. And I have, during the last few months, I have been taught by you, and you have a specific way of dealing with things, and it makes sense.
Mhm.
The direction that you have pointed me in. And this particular instructor would say things like, presentation, would say things like, rush through this, they don't have time for this, but I'm like, they're you these this is all important stuff. You have to make sure that they understand. And
Yeah.
I always in my mind is, Jeremy says you're supposed to do this, Jeremy says you're supposed to make sure that they understand. Jeremy says you're supposed to get the information from them. But this particular instructor was like, race through it. And I'm like,
I do disagree
yeah,
with that because I guess maybe on the most pragmatic just kind of like looking at this from a business standpoint, what are you rushing out of there to go do? To prospect some more to get another consult? Well, if the objective is the consult to get in front of somebody, this is if there's one place that you need to make sure you take all the time that you need, I would
Right.
argue
I
it needs
mean,
to be the
they have to
consult.
understand how you're going to get paid. They have to understand what their costs is. They have so much to understand, both on selling and on buying, like what they're doing.
There's a
These
lot to
are
unpack.
legal
Yeah.
contracts. Like
Mhm.
these are things that oh no, no, you got to do this so that we can get to the next one. There's never going to be a next one because no one's going to trust you.
Well, that part, right? That part.
But I
And
mean, that's just
and
my
yeah, and when you
opinion.
rush through it, the bottom line is your conversion is going to be way low because you are the pursuing salesperson, and that's the bottom line. If you use a method like this, and the method that I teach very much mirrors this in my buyer and seller consultation classes, my conversion rate is over 90%,
Yeah.
which is bananas, which is bananas. And it's not because I'm so great. I didn't know any of this until I started learning and being taught by the right people, by the Kindles and by the Greg Rulins and by the Micah Johnsons and others, great many of other people out there that taught me how to do this the right way. And it's not that I'm done anything so great. All I've done is just emulate what somebody, R&D, root, and duplicate. I took what other people have done and I, used it myself. But
And how
and
many
speaking of which,
times have you gotten recommendations from the people that you've treated like human beings and
all the
listened?
time. Yeah, I get a
Correct.
lot of
And
referrals
that
from
is
people.
the whole point.
Yeah,
You don't even have to build it or chase these people down. They will go and they will find you.
yeah, yeah. Well, and that's the cool thing, and also it's a really powerful thing because if you, I've said people's name before, and then they came back to me and they said, "Hey, this roofer did this or that, or the electrician or whatever," and it makes me look terrible. My reputation takes a hit because of the actions of somebody else. So the very fact that somebody is willing to say my name and they can do so with confidence, putting their own reputation on the line with something as big as buying or selling real estate,
Yeah.
holy cow, that's not
Huge.
something to take lightly. Yeah,
No.
exactly. So
Because I don't know about anybody else, but to me, a lot of people, oh, everybody has to buy it. I'm like, dude, that's a lot.
it is a lot. It absolutely is a lot.
But,
So, so talking about the fact that this, kind of going back to this idea of, rip off and duplicate, we've got, I use a blended technique, kind of hybrid of things that lots of people have told me over the years. One of the oldest methods that Kendall discussed, the Socratic method.
right.
And Socrates was, we don't have a lot of his writings. We only have, uh, or is it? Or is it Aristotle that we don't have a lot of his writings? I think Plato, if I can recall,
Shooting
was
to
the student of
drops.
Socrates, and a lot of the writings that we have about Socrates come from
Yes.
Plato. Uh,
Okay.
and Socrates, he taught by asking powerful questions. And Kendall argues that a good ninja will do the same thing, will employ this same classic time proven strategy of just asking questions to create clarity. That's how he taught. And that's how we can learn is, instead of saying, and this isn't, oh, here's why I'm great. It's help me understand why this, why do you need that? And ask all those clarifying questions. And you use that, like you said previously, to kind of steer and guide the conversation
Mhm.
wherever it is to move into the spaces that you need to learn about. Questions create engagement.
Yeah.
Is it keeps people involved, and it also makes conversations collaborative. Instead of
Yeah.
me just like talking at you, we're able to pull out of
Hmm.
people. It lowers resistance, it builds trust. And the cool thing about this is these answers already exist inside of the person that you're sitting in front of.
Yeah.
It's not like the answers to a math question where they have to go and study and find it or whatever. It's already there. It's right there. You just have to draw it out of them. Uh, looking at some of my notes here, I lost track here.
And just answer the right question.
Okay.
That's like that's what we were talking about earlier. Is just you're asking them enough questions so that you keep them engaged as well as, and you're still gathering all the information
Yeah.
because you have your list of questions that you need answered. So as they're talking, you're just writing down all
Mhm.
the information, but it requires a good listening skill.
Do you remember and it was kind of a cliffhanger into the next chapter, but do you remember the type or style of questions that Kindle recommends using whenever you're just connecting with people? I think it was whenever the guy and I thought about myself because we've got this this agent that is busy with sports games and kids. I saw soccer in my head. I don't remember if it was actually soccer
Right.
in the text, but like I said, I saw myself there because I spend a lot of time on the weekends on the sidelines of my kid's soccer game, and this agent was asking questions about like, okay, well, how do I do this? What questions do I ask? Let me find this in the text here because I want to make sure. Mike, there it is. He was having struggles with the whole work-life balance thing, and spends a lot of time at kids' games. And he said, so Kendall said, okay, well, hey, what are you doing when you're there?
Right.
He's like, oh, well, we all line up our chairs and we watch the game. And he said, well, okay, leave your chair in the car. Instead, start talking to people. And he said, well, what question do I ask? And he said, okay, I want you to use Ford questions: family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Now, that is kind of a little bit of a cliffhanger or a segue into the next chapter that we're going to talk about next week. But family, occupation, recreation, dreams. And by the way, shameless plug, I give a class about that, mastering client conversations, where I teach the Ford method, and we actually will role play it because in my classes we do a lot of
You have
role
to
playing,
role
we do a
play.
lot of rehearsals. But
Yeah.
we dive into the Ford methodology. Ford is huge. If you don't know what to talk about, just remember Ford: family, occupation, recreation, dreams. Ask open-ended questions that are attempting that are disarming. I don't want to go too much into Ford because we go into Ford next week and I have a whole class about that I teach. But the idea here is this: if you ask Ford questions, you can connect with them on a personal level. And what I really love is Kendall says something that I preach all the time, and maybe I got it from Kendall a long time ago and I don't remember it. It's just stuck in my brain. What was the
Right.
question that he told Mike never ask? Do you
I
remember?
don't know. What was it?
He told him never go up to somebody and say, "Do you know anybody that's looking to buy or sell anytime soon?"
Oh,
Never, ever do that. Okay, you're cringing, and I love that you're cringing and rolling your eyes because a lot of these gurus out here, they will tell people, "Oh, ask people all the time. Well, you know anybody that's looking to buy or sell anytime soon?" You're going to look like a clown. Don't
that was
be that
actually
person.
in the class from that
I
particular
know.
person.
I know who
Yes.
you're talking about,
And
and that's his
I
style.
just,
That's
and
his
I
style.
was like, I would never
I
ask that
disagree.
question. And there, and the look of down your nose, well, you're never going to sell anything, but that's not true.
Yeah.
Have
It's a different approach. That's his approach. I disagree with it. I don't.
you ever bought, well, are you looking, do you know anybody that's looking? God, it feels like if they have a shark fin and I
Mhm.
can't deal with that.
Yeah. Well, that's the
And
pursuing
people don't like
salesperson.
that.
That's
Yeah,
the
people don't
pursuing
like.
salesperson that Kendall talks about and he warns about and he warns against. That's most salespeople, though. That's 80% or higher of salespeople are out there that are like that. So when you hear that, when you see that, don't be surprised. That's just how it is. But yeah, I would. That question to me is one of the worst questions that you can ever ask. Do you know anybody that's looking to buy or sell anytime soon? Your people are going to think you're just looking for a deal. You're giving off commission breath, and people are going to avoid you. How
Yeah.
many? I'm sure everybody has them, and I have one in my family that it seems like he's all every time he calls me, I don't answer. because I know what he's calling me about. He's calling me about the next big deal, the next big thing. You don't want to miss this opportunity. And it's always just his next scheme. It's always just his next thing. And he's chasing and pushing. And I'm just like, dude, like it's just too much. People,
Carmen, my daughter, she had corporate come down from the place that she's working with and asked her to be a trainer for sales.
yeah.
She turned it down because she'd sell them. I don't sell anything.
Mm. Where does she work?
And
What does she do?
she, her first job, she works at a bloody spa.
Oh,
Okay. And I'm like, girl, what are you doing? You need to come and start selling some houses or to make some actual money
mhm.
or do something
I mean, it
else.
sounds like
And
she's
she
connecting
goes,
with people.
yeah, she goes, oh, I don't sell anything. I don't know how to train that. And they're like, well, you've taken this spot to the top of Texas
Yeah.
and since you've been here. And she's like, yeah, but I don't sell anything.
Well, you won't, at least not on purpose. It's not sales, it's service.
She was
And
like,
that's why
I
I tell
just
people
ask them what
I'm in
they
the service
want.
industry.
I just ask them what they want and how I can help them get it.
Yeah, that's
I
it.
just help them.
Find the need, fill the need. Find the need, fill the need. You're
I was
asking
like,
questions,
girl, I'm gonna
providing
need you
answers.
to come and train and be a part of this
Well, and
real
remember,
estate
remember the
group.
whole principle two is stop selling, start serving. And that's what she's
Right?
doing. She's serving. It's not sales, it's service. And
Yeah,
this
she
chapter
turned the
is
whole job down. She was like, I don't sell anything.
mhm.
And they're like, you do. And she's like, no, I don't.
I mean, she's already applying ninja selling. Yeah, give her that
She
book.
doesn't even know it.
Yeah, she doesn't even
I
know.
was like,
Yeah.
girl, if you would just come and get the training you need, I promise you, you would be able to go to Hawaii every month.
Right? Well, the key thing about this chapter is it's all about finding what that need is.
Right.
It's all about curiosity. Bad salespeople, they're waiting to talk. They can't, they're just like jumping and they're like, well, I can't wait till they stop talking so I can start talking. That's those are just regular salespeople out. Those are bad salespeople. Great salespeople aren't in sales, they're in service, and they're genuinely curious. And
Yeah.
people can feel that difference. They may not be able to put their finger on why, but they'll say, there's something about Lisa, I don't know, I don't trust, or they're gonna say, man, there's something about Lisa, she's the one, she gets it. They won't know immediately, but they get a feeling. It's that
Oh
vibe, it's that
yeah.
energy.
It's the energy. Where they know when you're like, I gotta get this house sold. I gotta
Mhm.
no. What do you need?
So
How can I help you?
most agents talk too much, they explain too much, they're pitching people, and then wonder why clients feel disconnected and things feel cringy and just awkward. And they're like, oh, how come people nobody calls me back? Well, that's why you're not connecting with people.
Yeah.
Uh, People don't want to be pitched. People don't want to be sold, but they love to buy. Remember that? They
Yeah.
want the understanding, they want guidance, they want clarity. And that's where it is. So yeah, just keep that in mind as you're going through. I know that you are in the licensing process, but be mindful of this and always ask yourself, am I talking too much? And if so, then break it up with those questions like, hey, are you with me? What questions do you have? Uh, Give them the ball. They need time of
Yeah.
possession. And then think about those questions that are going to consistently create a meaningful conversation. That Holy Grail question is one of the best ones because people talk. You're just
Yeah.
gonna keep them talking. So,
You can hear, you can find their need as soon as they open their mouth,
mhm,
or like with just specific leading questions, hey, how long you been here? Oh,
mhm.
I was here for this, but I tried to find a different house and then I just want to stay in this area. And that
You get some
answer,
pain points there, right? Yeah.
yeah, I
Hmm.
want to stay in this area, but I don't, I'm wondering if the mortgage is going to be higher than what I pay in rent. And, you're writing all this stuff, even if you're not writing it down, you're bringing it in.
Hmm. Yeah.
And you're like, okay, well,
Yeah.
if I can help you figure that out, would that work? Would you be okay with that? If you can help me figure that out, let's do it.
So I
Perfect.
would shift that language and say if, then I would change it to when.
When?
Mhm.
That's a
I
that
would
see?
use presumptive language there.
Okay. Let me get this figured out for you. I'll
Hmm.
come down and we'll have a seat and talk
Hmm.
about it.
Yeah, yeah. So what
You
questions
know?
do you have on chapter 15?
I know. And it was a good chapter.
Yeah,
It
I liked
just
it.
it pointed out a whole lot of things that we try to practice, and just I was looking for a truck, and I think after about, and all I did was I just stopped. I said, it's a pretty truck. And the salesperson called me 15 times in a row.
Ugh.
And I ended up having to block them because
That's
I
when you get
didn't even
blocked.
want,
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, and so that's that whole thing. Well, just let me, I got it. I'll let you know.
Yeah,
Well, I understand, but I'll let you know.
I'm good. Right.
I'm good.
Well, in close, I'll say this, and then I think this was a really good takeaway that I came away with from this chapter. The quality of your business is often determined by the quality of your questions.
Quality of your service too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that as well, I would argue. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, thank you so much for coming out today and hanging with me. We're gonna stop this recording now.